Howdy, folks. So today I'm going to talk about the 64 Audio Trio. So these headphones are pretty interesting. Trio meaning three drivers, one dynamic, one balanced armature, and I think another balanced armature. Huh, I only just noticed that just now. Interesting. Little vents there. Okay. So these headphones are friggin' expensive. They're $2,300. Three drivers, dynamic driver, and I think two BAs. I'm pretty sure. One of the BAs is delided, so they like chop the lid off the BA and they do some modifications to it. It's a 64 Audio's own special sauce. As far as the headphones go, they don't have the Apex module on the outside, which I actually like a lot because that causes major wind noise for me. If I'm running, these don't have it externally, they have it internally. It says, I just read that, internal Apex module for vent relief. So there's pressure relief. There is a vent here, and there is a vent, where are you? Here, little tiny holes. And yeah, no pressure relief whatsoever. So excellent, and also no wind noise that I can detect. Also excellent. And they have this typical 64 Audio sort of like deep insertion bores, which I actually like a lot because I can toss these tips on them and get an absolutely perfect fit and bottom out my ear, and they have really good isolation as well. This is the upgrade cable. It is freaking expensive is what I know. Maybe like $300 or $400. Very expensive, but really nice, supple. It doesn't tangle by itself. It's really nice like that. Chin slider here. Memory wire on here, so you can like do this sort of thing. 2-pin. Yeah. And so let's look at the product page. So yeah, driver count, sorry about that. Let me just scoot that over here. Two precision BA drivers, one delided and one dynamic driver. So that TIA driver right there is the delided one. One high mid, one dynamic driver, mid low. 104 dB at 1 milliwatt. They're actually, I'm going to call them just medium sensitive power. Nothing special and nothing bad, just kind of average. In terms of what you need to power them, anything will work. Impedance is 5.5 plus or minus, what does that say? I think like 1 or something ohm. So that is really, really, really low impedance, 5.5. So basically, as far as I can tell, the lower output impedance you have on your device, the more bass you're actually going to get out of this set. Does it matter that much? Not so much in the respect that stock configuration out of just a phone, which is, I don't know, a couple ohm output, it's fine. Plenty of bass and all in the right places. So pretty cool. It says isolation 15 dB with the internal Apex module. Cool. Is there anything else here? Let's see. Sorry, technology. Yeah. There's a tubeless, so I guess all the drivers fire into an acoustic chamber in this, and then out the bore. Cool. And this is supposed to mean that they don't, in fact, react to different output impedance sources. So I could be wrong about that. Typical multi-driver sets do react like I was talking about, but maybe not this one. Yeah, so they do come with the typical sort of cheeseball black 64 Audio cable, but this is the upgrade cable, just to make absolute sure everyone knows that. Does it matter? Well, it does in the respect that, if you want a pretty cable, this matters. Sure. All right, cool. Let's go over the Excel spreadsheet, which is here. So, scroll all the way up to the top. Oh, look what we have. Okay, so special magic factor. I'm going to give them a 10 out of 10. They really do hit me in a really nice sweet spot, and basically that's kind of like my would I buy it? Do I think it's exceptional for myself? And the answer is yeah, I do. I don't know about other people, but for me that's a 10 out of 10. I listen to them any day. Colored or accurate sound. So battled around with this a little bit. I do believe that they are probably more accurate than any other 64 Audio I've tried. Accurate meaning studio accurate, like as in the mix was um, intended to sound. They sound pretty good. So 9 out of 10. Wideness, we're going to give, they do that crazy 64 audio, ultra wide, like almost behind the head sort of thing. Like sounds are so wide to the left and right that they actually feel like they're behind you in a lot of cases. And going hand in hand with that, we have the 3D as a 10 out of 10. You do get the impression that you're in a venue if that's encoded in a track. It's as good as it gets. I've never really heard better on anything. Wideness, 3D factor. Yeah, so we're going to call that a complete badass 3D wideness factor. Imaging is going to be 10 out of 10. 64 audio is up there as far as technicality, shall we say? I don't know. But imaging is, perfect, is basically anything left to right, up, down, behind the head. It's about as good as I'd ever heard and would about as good as I'd want. Volume scaling, we'll give it a 9 out of 10. And so if I bring up let me find it, the graph, that kind of took me, it caught me off guard, I'll just say. I thought I heard a bit of a different tonality than what this graph shows. And this is really quite an interesting graph. It's fairly unlike anything else that I've seen. But we do have the 2.5, let's see if I put my cursor here, 2.5K pin gain peak. Although what's interesting is this 8K peak right here is up there. Now, to me, it's a little high, and that's probably why when I get over to the treble's not a perfect 10 out of 10. The more I was listening to different tracks, depending on the track, you may or may not hear anything in problem areas around the 8K, but it's there and it's a little funky. Right around 5K, we have this like dip, which is perfect. Now, like to me, snare, like whatever the transient smack of a snare drum hits right around, well, at least for me, it's the loudest and most annoying, maybe not the loudest, but the most annoying between 5 and 6K. So this little dippy dip right here probably takes the edge off of that sort of stuff. And also distorted guitars, the very high part of a distorted guitar is right between 5 and 6K. And so that takes that like buzzsaw B sound and turns it down a notch, which is pretty good, actually. I don't mind it at all. Now this thing right here, this 1K is like weird. All I can say is that my ears don't seem to hear this as being a problem area, but apparently you can graph it. So if we go from like 1K to 2.5K, that looks to me like, what are we talking? So that's 70 to, it's about 8 dB, something like that, which is strictly speaking from 1K to 2.5, that's definitely in my preference, and my brain seems to like it fine. And then we have a bump up, so this is going to be some mids and then some mid bass. And you might think, well, geez, that's really warm, and maybe it sounds like overly thick and warm, but not really. The dynamic driver is tuned in such a way that this comes across as being really good. It has really good extension. It doesn't have a warm, bloaty feel to it, in my opinion. So interesting. And then after 10K, the 10K crosses right with the 1K. Well, yeah, it's in the ballpark right there. And strictly speaking, that's my preference. I don't know why, but my ears somehow balance those two frequencies out. And if one of them is way off of another, I either hear it as being dark or piercy. So cool. And then we come down a little bit here, which is fine, I suppose, which is, what is this, like 12K. And again, 711 couplers aren't really that accurate here, but I'll tell you this much, that right as we get to 15K, 20K, I can hear up to maybe like 18. But if a track has some high level or high energy information in this range, this set will tickle your tonsils, shall we say. It's quite something. And most tracks you can't really pick up on that, but some, wow. And so it doesn't bother me. It's actually in the highest part of the treble that most folks aren't even going to be able to hear that well. So cool. Interesting graph. Very interesting. Wanted to bring that up. All right. And going back to my Excel spreadsheet, where were we? We were on, something around volume scaling. So we're at 9 out of 10. Bass is a 9.5 out of 10. I kind of like a little less mid bass and a little more sub bass, but I think everybody knows that. So compared to some of the better sets, this has like, it's just the tonality is just slightly different than what I like, but it's not bad at all. I mean, geez, 9.5 out of 10, fine. You can bass head these up like crazy. They'll smash your eardrums. The very, very tactile bass. Excellent, love it. Richness of mids, we'll give it a 9 out of 10. Compared to the best of the best, it's just a hair down, which would be the RSV maybe, and the EJ07 maybe as well. But it's up there, and I'm going to call it damn good. Then we move over to our treble. We have a 9 out of 10, and that's, like I said, due to the graph. I guess that 8K peak is a little much for me in some tracks, and overall, I just like a little better control in that area, possibly, meaning less dips in the graph. But it comes across as being pretty decent. I do hear just a bit of issues on some very rare tracks with the treble. I'm thinking because of the 8K peak, but it's very, very, very rare. It's almost none. So 9 out of 10. And like I said, when I say issues, I'm thinking of a $2,300 set at, as good as it gets. That's not compared to like lower quality sets. No, we're talking best of the best. Resolution, 9 out of 10. I haven't really heard better. Pressure buildup, none. Great, awesome, fantastic. Apex doing its work. Isolation is a 4 out of 5. These particular type style of tips and everything, bores do really good for me. Love it. 4 out of 10 or 4 out of 5. Isolation binaural is 4 out of 5, and it's very, very good. Sounds very realistic. Love it. Maybe just a hair down from Automatic. Yeah, so we end up as a 95.5 out of 100, which puts it in the top category, the top of my chart. Would I buy these? And the answer is no. The problem is really that when I go from the Soft Ears RSV at $740 to $2,300, and for me, I'm getting like possibly a slightly less good mids, just slightly, just a hair, and also a little bit better bass tactility. And the rest we'll call maybe a wash. I think the treble on the RSV is actually a little better for my tastes. So yeah, it's like a little give and take, but I wouldn't pay $2,300 for these. $2,300 is reserved for like something that's basically flawless, and I haven't heard it, but if I do, certainly I'll make a video about it. Yeah, so would I recommend them? Yes, I would. Absolutely. If you are, if you've heard 64 audio stuff, maybe like the U12T, and you wanted maybe just a slightly different flavor, I wouldn't say maybe a hair up. Maybe you could argue about the dynamic driver being a little better tuned rather than the U12T balanced armature tuning for bass, but that's preference really. So I'm going to say, yeah, I recommend these. They're near the top price, and also, depending on preferences, but there's no part of these that is just like, no. Everything is just right there, man. Just what I'd want. The pressure relief, the bore tube, the fit, the isolation, the sound quality. Yeah, so I'm not going to really recommend anything in the like thousands of dollars range, other than I would just say that I think that it is priced pretty appropriately for what it is. Yeah. So right on, folks. And again, my bro that sent me these, thank you so much, man. I would have never been able to try these, I don't think, on my own. And now I know what top quality sound can be like, at least from 64 Audio. So super happy, man. Thanks a lot, bro. And for everyone else, have a great day, and I'll talk to you on the next one.